Today we're going to be ranking every live action version of Gotham City, starting with the 1940 serials. These were the first on-screen depictions of the Dark Knight. Unfortunately, they were not given the same budgets that later entries would receive. The problem with these versions of Gotham is that it was so close to the creation of Batman that the city had not been imagined in the darker look that we have in recent memory. I mean, there's even parts in here where they straight up list Bruce's address for Los Angeles, so they didn't even have the right part of the country down. I do like some of the scenes of Gotham that we get, such as this rooftop view, but at the same time, there are some locations that just do not fit with Gotham City, such as this weird mining area in one of these episodes. I will say the version of the Batcave that we got looked pretty cool. I'm gonna give it an F. I understand that it hadn't even been a decade since Batman was created, but it just doesn't work well. Moving on, we have the 1966 version of Gotham in the TV show and the movie. Although this is also clearly Los Angeles, it does a better job at making sure that it is Gotham City and nothing else. There are some cool areas such as the courthouse, and I really do like how they use more comic locations and put in effort to make it look larger than life. For example, I really like this version of the Batcave. It gives off that old action movie aesthetic, as well as our in-depth look at Wayne Manor. Although it doesn't give off the dark, grimy vibe of Gotham City that everyone knows, this version of Batman is more comical and lighthearted, so it wouldn't have gone well with the direction of the show. I'm gonna give this one a C. Next up, we have the Tim Burton films, and my god, this version of Gotham City is beautiful. The production design team absolutely cooked with this one. I love the busy, overcrowded feel to the movies. It makes it feel so much more alive. I also love the use of Gothic architecture and Art Deco. It feels like they mixed 1970s New York with 1930s New York. The painted backdrops are just insanely detailed, and they perfectly align with Tim Burton's vision of a more dark, corrupt city. We get a more expanded take on the city with highly memorable locations such as Axis Chemicals or Ace Chemicals, the Batcave, Gotham Square, and the old cathedral in the finale of the first movie. It's no secret to why this movie won an Oscar for Best Production Design. I also love how they build on the city in the sequel with the use of snow and bright Christmas lights to contrast the darkness of the first film. This is the quintessential Gotham City, as it also went on to inspire so many more versions such as the one we got in the animated series. This one without a doubt is going into the S tier. I don't even know if there will ever be a better version than this one. We move on to Gotham City in the Schumacher films. I really like this version of Gotham City. It may not be as serious as its previous version, but it builds off of similar designs and art directions. We get a more colorful version of Gotham that is surrounded by these huge statues. I think the use of neon is great, and the movies make the city appear larger than life and very alive. If you look at the concept art for these movies, Gotham City looks like almost like a Lovecraftian horror movie. I also love the use of blue hue that we get in Batman and Robin. I just love when movies use blue color grading at night in general, but this combined with some of the unique buildings and statues, it makes for a really good Gotham City. I really wish we got to see more elements of this Gotham used in a better way, as the movies were pretty ass. That being said, say what you want about the movies, but you can't deny that they made a nice looking Gotham. This one gets an S tier. Next up is the 2002 version of Gotham in Birds of Prey, known as New Gotham City. This was a short-lived TV show, and Gotham wasn't really displayed all that much. Also, the budget was drastically lower than that of the movies, which made it a lot harder for the production team. I haven't yet watched the show, and I really couldn't find any pictures of New Gotham, but the ones I found looked okay at best. It does look like there was some inspiration from the 90s films, but there is clearly a TV look to this city, and from the shots that I could find, it looks decent, nothing crazy. I heard the show is pretty bad, but I'll probably end up watching it because there's only like 13 episodes. Maybe my ranking would be different, but for now, I'm gonna give this one a D tier. Now we have Gotham in the Dark Knight trilogy. This might be a hot take, so hear me out. I love the Dark Knight trilogy. I think it's one of the greatest movie trilogies of all time. But I'm gonna say this, Gotham progressively downgraded throughout the movies. Batman Begins has some of the coolest scenes involving the city, especially the shot of the Narrows where the Scarecrow hits it with tear gas. I love the huge monorail that leads to Wayne Tower. I also love Wayne Manor and the scene where everything is burning down. But then you get to The Dark Knight. And sure, Chicago was a cool place to shoot. I love the bank heist and how they're ziplining through the rooftops, the chase scenes in the underground area. I love the restaurant location. I love the high-rise scene where the Joker goes on his whole monologue. But then you have the scene where they go to Hong Kong, and it just looks so much better than Gotham. Like, look at this skyline. This looks way better than any of the boring buildings we got in the rest of the movie. And then The Dark Knight Rises, they changed the location again to like New York and Pittsburgh, and it just doesn't have the same vibe that we got from the other movies. I like the scenes where Bane takes over the city, and it gave us a snowy, abandoned feel to it, but other than that, it's just a bit boring. This one could have been higher if it stayed consistent with the designs of the first film, but I have to give it a high B for the drop off that it had. Now we get to the Gotham and Pennyworth versions of the city. Now, for a TV show, this version of Gotham City is pretty nice. This is probably the most in-depth version of Gotham that we have, as we get to explore so many areas that oftentimes get overshadowed due to the time limits of movies. I really love how Gotham looks at night, especially with the cloudy sky that they always use. I also love this shot in the Pennyworth show, as it gives off that 1970s New York look to Gotham. The biggest con about this version of Gotham is that there are some sets that make the show look a bit cheap, which ruins some of the immersion. Other than that, it's a pretty solid addition to the city. Going with a B. We now arrive to the DCEU, which includes films such as Batman v Superman, Suicide Squad, Justice League, etc. For the amount of movies that we got in the DCEU, it's still sad that we never got a solo Batman movie with Ben Affleck. It would have been cool to explore the version of Gotham City that we got in the DCEU. That being said, I think this is still a solid version of the city. I love the rainy aesthetic that it had in Batman v Superman, as well as the Gotham Seaport and some of the scenes we got from that. I just think that with the DCEU kind of being all over the place, it felt like we didn't get enough time with this city. I mean, sure, we got some cool takes in the Birds of Prey movie, as well as some of the parts in the Justice League film, but it never really got to see its full potential. I'm giving this one a B. It could have been a lot better, but there just wasn't any focus towards it the way the other movies had. Next up, we have Gotham from the Titans TV show. I think they mainly stayed in Gotham City for the third season and a few flashback scenes, so there wasn't much time in Gotham compared to the other shows. I really don't have much else to say about it. It's alright. C tier. We now move on to Gotham in the Arrowverse. This one was kind of all over the place, as there were some hints of different versions in the Crisis storyline, as well as Supergirl and Arrow. The main Gotham City in this universe has to do with the Batwoman show, and it's nothing crazy. It's CW budget, so yeah, it wasn't that great. There were some cool alternate versions that we got to see, so I guess that was something, but I'm going with a D. We now get to Gotham in the Joker movies. This is basically just 1970s New York. The whole movie kind of draws inspiration from movies of that time, such as Taxi Driver, where it has that really depressing, dark feeling to it. I really like how they explored more of Arkham and some of the areas of the lower class Gotham in both movies. I also like this shot right here in the Joker sequel. Can't say I like much else since it was straight ass, but I love the artificial set look. And I low-key wish we would have just used this art style for the whole movie. This one gets a weak B. If not for the 70s New York aesthetic, it would probably be lower, but they did a good job with the direction for the first movie at least. Up next, we have Gotham Knights. There was nothing about the show that has any redeeming qualities whatsoever. They just used a bunch of stock shots of the skyline. This was the easiest F tier I've ever given. Moving on, we have Gotham in the Batman and the Penguin series. This version of Gotham City just looks so cool and pleasing to look at. I love the architecture of the skyline. The interior design, especially in Wayne Manor and the Iceberg Lounge, looks sick. I love the atmosphere of a busy, overcrowded city that is in the process of an election, making it look more hectic. I think the rain is such an underrated aspect of this movie, as it really gives this version of Gotham its own personality, just as the winter versions of Gotham in the Burton films do. I think one of the most underrated art choices is using a reddish orange sky, as if they took it right out of the animated series and made it look real. Another thing that this movie does that almost none of the entries do well is the consistency of Gotham during day and night. This was most apparent in the funeral scene, as well as what we got in the Penguin TV show. Speaking of the Penguin, I love how it just picks off towards the end of the movie where Gotham City is just flooded and it's working on rebuilding itself. I like how they use different districts of Gotham, such as the rich place where the Falcone estate was, as well as Crown Point. By the way, just look how beautiful this closing shot is of the Penguin. I really hope we get to see this version of Gotham expanded on in the second movie, as well as other show ideas such as an Arkham or a GCPD show. This one gets an S. That was every live action version of Gotham City ranked. Let me know what your thoughts are in the comments down below. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time. Goodbye.